Time for what will be a fantastic last race, because we've got 7 drivers in contention of the round win. And Matt, a lot of guys chasing Kim Jane, who's high on points right now, but the bad news for him, he's got to come out of position number 7 with this unusual format that we're running this weekend.
You'd think it wasn't too bad a place to be, but look at the names ahead of him here. 6 of those guys looking to take down championship honours this weekend in Perth. Some guys with a lot of work overnight. In fact, the replaced gearbox in the Jeremy Gray entry after that incident in the sand trap yesterday, so he's got a fair bit of work to do from the back of the field. Unfortunately for Rick Gill, though, he's not going to start today, the local Perth racer. Woke up feeling a bit dizzy this morning.
He actually had to spend the night in hospital as a result of that too. So Grant Johnson coming off the back, talking about local racers like Rick Gill. There is the vacant grid spot alongside Danny Bazadzik, who was excluded from race 2. The officials saw that he was at fault, we'll say, for a lot of the carnage that went on. Tough decision, that one. Final race for the weekend, and it's McNally and Harris on the front row together. We believe that they have the worst tyres out of the front pack, so this should be very interesting. There's a stall at the back, but everyone gets around him. And Harris has won the start and beaten the Stratco Ute down to turn 1. Marjoram wants to go the long way. Can he hang tough?
It was Cam Wilson that headed to the grass the first time round. Charlie Kovacs works his way around in the Air Road 69, but look at the gap Harris has already.
What a great start, Roll Harris. We know how good he is on old tyres. And look at this for a battle. Hansford right up behind Jane, pushing him around the corner. Dontis will be hung out to dry, Talladega style, but he fights back through the right-hand king. Good racing on the first lap, much cleaner than race 2.
Almost adjusting the mirrors down there in turn 5 as that battle continues on. Jane this time. Poolsey, Bob Jane, T-Mart's entry back in, and this conga line of chaos heads down the back straight of Barbagallo.
He's up behind the Mango credit holder of David Cedars, who's second in the points at the moment and on for a potential podium. Wilson and Walton side by side down the hill. Wilson will have the inside run, and oh, he moves over and squeezes the Renko Ute wide. Opens up the door for Beachy.
Gee, it's lap 1.
Oh, but it is the last race. Harris leads the first lap from McNally. And this is setting itself up nicely because the guys with the older tyres are at the front here. McLeod and Jane have both kept a couple of spare tyres clean for this race.
Jeremy Gray working his way through the field on the back of Fisher here. Changing the gearbox overnight.
Former teammates, those two, probably just full of sand after being punted off very unceremoniously in the first corner. Riding on board right now with Fisher. This is the Yokohama on board, looking back to Jeremy Gray. Patience on the throttle, isn't it, through there, especially when these tyres are getting old and sludgy, which they do very quickly around here. It's Grant Johnson up the middle now, taking a spot away from Kiwi Peter Ward. Johnson's come flying through the field at the moment. Remember, he started, I think, on the 11th or 12th row. He's cutting through this field.
Did a wheel alignment to that car last night. Was out by about 10 mil on the Johnson car, so
it's a lot. 10 mil might not sound like a lot, but that goes to show the kind of contact that he had with Adam Marjoram. Marjoram was given a bit of a slap on the wrist for that move. Actually clean broke the rim as well for Grant Johnson. He's pushing through this field in a big way as we've got the multi-spares Ute pushing the Just Car Kit and Car Care products Dontis around the corner.
And look at the way now that Harris has fallen back to these guys here, McNally and McLeod. So 3-way battle here. Keep in mind, these guys are in line for round honours.
Now, Jared McLeod looking for his first ever podium in the series. He's in the Ryco Ute. He's kept a couple of spare tyres for this race, and he might just have a chance under brakes. He makes that stick up the inside, locks a tyre, but nice move to Jared McLeod. The Victorian moves to second in the race, then looking down the barrel of his first ever podium.
Hope that wasn't one of the good tyres.
It wasn't. The good tyres are on the left-hand side. That's right, you can smoke up the right side. Around here, it's not going to hurt the turn in. Look, they're all on the defensive side, down towards turn 1. Roll Harris mirror driving with a good 11 laps to go. Is that Mediki on the outside?
It is.
It was brave. He's about to get a lot closer in that window.
Remember, these two had a great battle in race 2 when Marjoram started carving his way through the field. McNally driving down the middle of the racetrack, as he's entitled to do.
See, McNally's hurting here. His tyres were spent in qualifying. By the time they get through to race 3, he's really struggling for grip. Started, remember, in pole position, and he's falling back. So Jane and McLeod were the two drivers that kept a spare set of tyres up their sleeve, or at least 2 tyres. You get 6 for the weekend. You're going to stretch that across 3 races. It's heating up. Final race for the weekend. Harris, the race leader. McLeod and Marjoram looking very good in the final race of the weekend. A quick break. Back with more soon. Welcome back to the west side in WA. Round 2 of the East Coast Bullbars V8 Utes, and we've got a Queenslander leading a Victorian from a couple of Perth lads. It's Royal Harris out in the point at the moment, riding on board with the South Aussie.
There's Dontis trying to work through his Marjoram. I think he's got the better tyres here, Chad. I'm going to put it out there right now. This guy could be at the pointy end, which he is now. But check out an East Coast Bullbars replay of the start.
Oh, the centre pick is Mason Barbera, young man from Bundaberg. Stalled it on the start line. Gee, imagine if he did that in race 2, it would have been carnage.
Absolutely. Look at this 3 wide. It's a narrow racetrack at the best of times.
Wow.
And it's Kovacs on the outside. The wily veteran just sits back and lets the boys play it out in front of him.
Oh, yeah. Left mirror getting a bit of a touch-up. That's the Yokohama on board with Andrew Fisher as he looks out the window to an ex-teammate in Jero Gray. Had to yield that spot. I tell you what, Wilson was lucky to get away with squeezing Walton here. He could have been very much in the fence or in the sand there. Whew.
And the wall comes up really quickly as Beachy got into the back of Walton at the same time. Back to live shots now as Marjoram is on the back of McLeod.
I reckon McLeod's maybe just gone a bit too aggressive here with his tyre pressures because he was flying through the field in the earlier laps, but he looks to have just lost that early momentum. And Marjoram, who used his 2 good tyres in the reverse grid race, has probably looked after him quite nicely and still has a lot of car speed to go on with here. And there's no doubt that Harris has used everything he's got up until this point.
Lock of the brake for Harris. This is smoke signals to everyone behind that this guy might be in tyre troubles now. McLeod gets all sorts of out of shape. Down the basin here at turn 6.
That was Jared seeing a gap. He thought I might have half a chance, and he just got a little bit too aggressive on the right pedal. Lit up those rears as a result. And look at Harris. He has put that ute in the middle of the racetrack. That's John Bow-esque driving. No one's getting around the Holidays for Life ute, at least not easily. Good run out of the last corner. Marjoram, McLeod caught napping, is going to lose second position here.
Marjoram will get the pass done here as McNally fancies a shot on the inside. Door slam shut in McNally's face.
McNally just hasn't got the tyre life to make that point. And this has put now Marjoram up to a potential first ever podium. Wow, this has just been a bit of pass the parcel with the trophies this weekend. Kim Jane needing to finish 4th to win the round, languishing outside this front pack, and as it stands, Royal Harris will be stepping onto the top step. Not bad considering it's the first event in that car, the ex-Peter Burnett ute.
You can just see Marjoram seesawing at the wheel there as they come across 5. As down the inside comes Miedeke on McNally. So he goes up a spot now.
And that's going to be a bit of a trend here, I think, for the rest of the weekend. And that's good news for Cedars, because he might be the beneficiary of this little battle. These guys inside the top 5 in the points, McNally and Miedeke. Miedeke so far top 10 in every single race so far in the championship. Same goes Harris and Marjoram, the only 3 drivers to be able to claim that. And just look at the better drive around the outside, and now Cedars will take a spot off his teammate as Marjoram going the slalom style down the front straight.
Living up to the nickname, the Menace, at the end of lap 7. On board with Dontis, who's knocking at the back door for the Stratco entry of Reece McNally.
Champion spark plugs on board as we go curb hopping. You're allowed to do it on those curbs. It's turn 5 and 7 that you're not allowed to get aggressive on.
I wouldn't like to hit those curbs at the best of times.
Great weekend for all 3 Erebus drivers qualifying inside the top 10, including Kim Jane taking out that Armour All Pole Position Award. There is the Bob Janes T-Marts, Altenzo, Sharkbait, many sponsors on that ute. Sitting behind the pack there as Hansard picks up that spot now of Dontis on the dirty side of the racetrack. The Just Car Insurance ute's not going to get much drive out there. So we ride back on board. Champion spark plugs on board as he looks over to the left mirror. It'll be busy out there.
And straight away Hansford goes on a defensive. So we've got some 2 wide action happening with Jane, the pole sitter, his first one since Darwin.
And Grant Johnson, the evergreen Grant Johnson, has just gone around Kim Jane, who started out of position number 7. Incredible, he's still got it. Oh, patience on the throttle there, Adam.
So maybe his tyres aren't as good as what I thought they were.
Maybe he's just getting a little bit too lead-footed there, starting to lose patience with being held up by the race leader. I mean, he would just gap the field if he could get around him. But that is a big if right now. It's Johnson going the long way around turn 4, and that is a long way. Let me tell you, that is one of the longest corners we go to anywhere in the country. Gets relegated back behind Kim Jane, and Cam Wilson along for the ride with those guys. Stayed out of trouble this week in Cam Wilson, which is good news. Johnson now goes to the inside of Kim Jane. Wilson with another casual 20 grand fixed job after Adelaide, after that nasty crash we saw earlier with Jared McLeod.
If there was passing points for cars right now, Johnson would be the round winner. After coming from near back of the field is alongside Kim Jane, and will have the better drive in the turns. He slides the all-purpose pest control ute up onto the curbs. And another place up as Marjoram is still Morse code in the back of Ryle Harris here.
He changed tact about 3 or 4 times then, Adam Marjoram. He just couldn't quite make up his mind where he wanted to put the Auto 1 ute. He's got so much speed, like a dog chasing his tail down there in second spot at the moment. He just cannot get around the 2-time champ, Ryle Harris. Harris on the podium here, 4 out of the 5 years we've gone racing. Just cannot get to the top step. Today looks to be the day for Ryle Harris. Oh, there's that curb at 5.
This will be Marjoram's best result if he can hold on to this position. In V8 Utes racing in front of the local fans. He's been up the promotional trail in the past couple of weeks as Johnson takes Jane down the inside past Dontis. You can almost hear the reversing beacon aboard the Just Car Insurance entry.
Oh, you can also hear the rev limiter, as that was saying a big warm welcome to 4th gear.
Stop, you're hurting me.
Wilson getting a little bit taily, trying to get around Dontis now as well. It's a long line of utes, 10 strong. The train continues down the front straight. They all fan out. We're going to duck off to an ad break. You do not want to miss how this one is going to play out. Ryle Harris is just hanging on to the lead, but will he keep it all the way to the flag? We'll find out soon. There's not many laps left here in Perth. Final race of round 2 of the East Coast Bullbars V8 Utes. And Ryle Harris hanging tough at the point.
It's been impressive as Marjoram again closes the gap. And Johnson still coming through the field here. He's into 8th now.
What a drive from the 2-time champ, Grant Johnson. Recently lost the all-time race wins record to the man on the right-hand side of the screen as we take the Renko on board. He's going to go the long way. If you can hang tough there, you're a chance, but he's too worried about losing second spot. That's why he bounces off the curb, decides to abort the move.
So Harris knows he's there. He continues to lead this race, and now there's at least 4 utes battling for the race win here.
And the round win, don't forget. There's a lot at stake. David Cedars on for his best week and actually might be able to snare himself a podium here. If he can just stay out of trouble, the 3rd step beckons for the Mango Credit Ute. His first time on the podium in a Holden. He's been trialling a couple of new suspension components, which they're looking to place into all the Commodores for the remainder of the season. Dontis still falling back as Cam Wilson has a go down at turn 6. Been plenty of passing this weekend, and while the new format might not be necessarily fair, I mean, we're looking at the first time since Sydney in 2013 that we've had 3 different race winners across the weekend. There was 7 guys fighting for the round victory. You cannot tell me that this isn't entertaining. I like the new format.
And promotes exciting racing, and that's what we come here to see in the East Coast Bullbar Series as Hansford goes down the inside of Johnson. Like Johnson had him momentarily, and I think he might have him by the end of this lap as Hansford drives defensively on this main straight. 2 to go.
Now, there's only 2 to go, like you mentioned, but I might just throw one more little curveball in there. They're chasing down a lap car. It's Warwick Spooner in the Denani Hot Shots ute. His first race in 6 years. He's fallen off the back of the pack, and I hope that he's looking in his mirrors right now because here come the leaders.
And when he does, he'll be worrying. What's he going to do?
He's going to go in the middle. Harris on the dirt. Oh, and a close moment for Marjoram. He lets out a little scream. I'm not sure if that was fear or frustration, but the order remains the same. That was a heart stopper.
Wow. That could have been massive. I didn't see any blue flags then either. So Spooner was racing his own race and now has moved over to let the field through.
I think that might have been Marjoram's last Hail Mary because he's exhausted his playbook. Without using the bumpers, he is not getting around Ryle Harris today.
Final lap. 2.4 kilometres for Adam Marjoram, staring down the barrel of his first race win in the East Coast Bullbars V8 Utes Series. Here's the replay. The Denani Hotshots entry, the local West Aussie business on board with Spooner. And look at Marjoram here.
That was a late call, wasn't it, to go over to the left-hand side. And, man, it was the Renko on board that was really telling there. A worrying moment as we follow the leaders home to the checkered flag. The last time through turn 5. Has Marjoram got anything left? He's got all his friends from Auto 1 watching on. Meanwhile, Miedeke might just pick up 3rd position. He does.
Best
Nice
spot
work.
for him to be in. It's underneath McLeod. So one last chance. You got to say Harris has driven here like a champion.
He's used absolutely all his skill, nous, knowledge, and all 3 mirrors to perfection as he sits frustratingly in the middle of the racetrack once again for Adam Marjoram. Legally, beautifully done. From Ryle Harris, he's going to come out of the last corner and win his first ever round in the West. Marjoram chases him to the line, but can't do it. But either way, it's his first podium in the series, and he will be chuffed with that. Miedeke home for 3rd as the boys fight away down in the background. McNally picked himself up a 5-second penalty too, so he'll fall outside the top 10. And where's Walton? Not home yet. It's a shocker for the defending champ, as the kid is back in number 1 in the series as well. That was vintage Ute racing. I thoroughly enjoyed that the whole way through. It's Ryle Harris, your race and round winner. Marjoram, 2nd in the series, the round, as well as that race. Miedeke home for 3rd. We go over the page and Walton in 18th.
What happened there?
I don't know, but driver of the event so far has to be Grant Johnson. What a drive from him in that one. He ended up passing 15 cars in that race, but we'll check out the event points. Ryle Harris, maximising that front row start. Personal best finishes for McLeod and Marjoram. Cedar's first podium in a Holden as well. But let's hear from our event winner, Ryle Harris.
Ryle Harris, you're a hard man to pass, but it paid off for you.
Yeah, I had to play the defensive game pretty much from the first corner. First lap, I flat spotted the tyre really bad and a bit dirty myself. But, you know, when I won, I've pretty much got the widest Ute in Australia. But, you know, I'm really happy for Adam to get his first podium at his home track. And, you know, a lot of pressure from all the Holden guys here. The extra 40 kilos we're carrying, you know, certainly you feel it up the hill. But, you know, I want to carry the 40 for the whole year because I want to lead the championship for the whole year. So, you know, Matt Stone Racing, the car was awesome all weekend.
Time to check out the DBA Hard Breaker Award. It goes to Adam Beachy for his effort in race 2, climbing from 28th to 13th. For the Masters Award this week, it goes to Kim Jane, our Armour All pole position winner, and very unlucky not to win the round. And this is going to be an exciting battle all year long. Lee Nicolau, now our leading rookie for Shamak Racing, but that looks to be going on all the way to Sydney. The points after 2 rounds, Ryle Harris is now your sole championship leader. Marjoram jumps to 2nd. How about Chris Walton, the defending champ, all the way down to 6th? Hey, Ryle, I love the retro overalls, very James Hunt. And the next time we'll get to see these guys, round 3, Hidden Valley, come up. It's in June, it's warm, it's beautiful, a great spot for Ute racing. Thanks to Matt Nolte for his help. On behalf of everyone here at the Utes, thanks for watching. We'll see you in Darwin.